Take it out to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a lowest downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed. There you go. Go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. What we got? A tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You clear land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final, and as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, 3, 2, 1.
Hello. Hello, everybody, and welcome
to fly a live stream on this Thanksgiving Day. Hence my sportive cats and my friends in America. Thank you very much, Dave.
Dave doing his other tech impression.
It's a rubbish day outside. But welcome anyway. So we've got an amazing show for you tonight. I can see Shona and Laurie sitting there in the green room ready. I can see Simon Keeling waiting with some fantastic American Floridian weather for this weekend. But first of all, I have to thank very much our sponsor, SkyDemon. SkyDemon, thank you very much. Without you, this broadcast wouldn't be possible. It wouldn't be as good. We'd have less than it works really well. Thank you very much, SkyDemon. And we'll bring you this week's SkyDemon tip just as soon as this music finishes. So with the software, so we have to keep talking a little bit.
I see a bit of a flaw in this plan. Well, like everything, we've rehearsed it and we're prepared for the technical outcomes. Not.
What I don't understand is that the music runs for 38 seconds. And when I did rehearse it, my talk.
I think this is what's called on the loop here. There we go.
Click the loop button.
There we go. Who says he should be left in charge of the technology? They're wrong.
I think we're going to move swiftly on to the SkyDemon tip for this week. Just to and just try and forget about it. Look into my eyes. Just forget. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Tim from SkyDemon. Welcome to today's top tip.
In SkyDemon, we have a few different chart styles available, and you can get to them under the mapping menu, then chart style. Most people should be using one of the top two. SkyDemon ground cover is best when you care more about what's on the ground than the elevation of the terrain. In this chart style, the terrain is mostly coloured white, and on top of that you have lakes and rivers, urban and industrial areas, woodland and forest, and grassland. In this part of the UK, the terrain is all a similar elevation, so the white background is quite smooth. If we move somewhere more mountainous, you can see the white of the terrain is more textured, showing the peaks and valleys. But because we're still showing the trees and grassland covering the slopes, it can be hard to make out the slopes themselves. This is where the SkyDemon terrain chart style comes in. This style renders the terrain elevation in whites, greens and browns, and you can zoom in to get some pretty good details. Because we're using those colours for the terrain, this chart style doesn't show trees or grassland at all. If we head back to the UK, we can see that even low-level terrain looks quite good with this style. Both of these styles use the same colours for airspace and waypoints. I'll cover the other styles in another video.
For more information on any of our features, go to skydemon.aero and choose Help and Support.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I get the feeling as Tim scrolls around, he sounds like a proud dad, doesn't he?
Well, I think he probably is. Knowing the team at SkyDemon as we do, I suspect that when the result that we saw there is kind of like has taken hours and hours and days of just thinking and discussing and talking about it and deciding what's the best way to do things and which particular shade of green works best with which particular shade of brown, etc., etc. The implementation of it, I mean, not that I've written a line of code in my life, but I suspect the implementation of it is probably somewhat quicker than the discussion about exactly how to do it and how to make it look. So, well done for those people at SkyDemon. Another great tip. And I'm kind of slightly ashamed to say I'm not entirely sure which version I use. So I need to go and have a look and see which one it is.
All you know is that it's track up.
All I know is it's track up. Absolutely. No, well, sometimes it's north up, but only if I'm flying north. Because then I like to say I'm kind of ambidextrous as far as those things are concerned, as it were. Right, let's see if we can bring in Simon. There you go. I'm going to move you up here, Simon. I'm going to make you large, and I'm going to say hello. How are you doing?
All right, thank you. Evening, all. How are we all doing?
We're doing well.
Good. It's like slightly worried by your dark-coloured top. It's like, where's the bright colour, Simon?
It's got to be bad news, hasn't it, Ed? It's got to be bad news. Well, actually, it's not that bad. It's a bit mixed, and it's all changing this week. It's almost as if the weather's just going to turn a page, but I'll tell you more about that in just a second. First of all, just wanted to show you this. This was this afternoon's satellite picture, and a real cracker to show a winter storm here towards the northwest of Ireland this afternoon. These are the score lines that came eastwards during this afternoon. Did you get one of those where it went through and caused absolute mayhem here, just about 3 miles south of Hackney Green? We got flooding everywhere because of one of those score lines that disappeared off eastwards. And you can see here as well, huge cunims out over Western Ireland. I could spend all evening talking about that satellite picture, but I won't. Let's get on to the forecast. This is the forecast for tomorrow, which actually looks a decent day for flying. Hooray! We're looking at 3,000 to 4,000 foot bases across most of England and Wales. Some showers across Western Wales. You see these green blobs, and also across northwest England. Bases there 2,500 to 3,000 feet, and probably some more persistent rain affecting northwestern Scotland as these weak fronts move in. But again, bases here probably around 2,000 feet. But of course, in Scotland, that's enough to cover the hills and mountains, isn't it? But for most of us, it looks a decent day. Perhaps a little bit breezy. Westerlies at around 15 knots or so, a bit stronger in Scotland. Now, for Saturday morning looks to be better than Saturday afternoon, particularly central and eastern areas. We've got a weak ridge of high pressure that's going to be bringing fair conditions here. Typical bases 4,000 feet, tops about 8,000. Front here coming in from the west, bringing rain across western Scotland, western England, western Wales by the time we get, and southwest England as well, I should say, by the time we're getting to around midday on Saturday. And then this all edges its way eastwards through Saturday afternoon. Gusty winds ahead of these fronts as well. So get ready for those. We're talking gusts of 35 to 40 knots. So certainly the morning is better than the afternoon on Saturday. And then for Sunday, that front kind of gets stuck across East Anglia and Southeast England. I have to say I've got uncertainty on exactly where this front is. It may be that it's further east. It may be that actually clears out of the way and it's better across East Anglia in the southeast than shown here. But I think this is probably worst case. Bases only around 500 to 1,000 feet tops, probably in that one at around 10 to 12,000 feet. So if that did happen, not great across the southeast corner. But elsewhere, you see isobars quite far apart. On the cloud ceiling forecast chart here, we've got lots of white colours telling us that the bases are above about 4,000 feet. Much better visibility. So actually much better from the Midlands northwards. And actually, like I say, a big change coming through during the course of this week. High pressure is building. So this is the forecast chart for next Saturday. We've got high pressure over Scandinavia. We've got an easterly wind. Dare I use that horrid phrase, beast from the east? I don't think it really will be a beast from the east. It's going to be cooler and probably quite breezy as well. Maybe a little bit of rain down eastern coast, but generally with that easterly flow, we should be seeing more flying days. Can be a bit turbulent in the easterly flow across the UK, but with that change taking place, I think we could be looking at a reasonable spell of weather ahead if those easterlies get in. Of course, I'll tell you more about that during the course of the week. But if you want to find out more yourself, then get yourself along to my next evening aviation weather school. This is all going to be held online on the consecutive Tuesdays of the 31st of January and the 7th of February 2023. It still seems a long way off, doesn't it? But it's not. So get to weatherschool.co.uk. You can book your place now, and I'll build your weather confidence and show you how you can spot weather windows up to 5 days in advance. Okay, I'll leave you with that. Have a fantastic flying weekend. There are some windows in there to be found. Just check the forecasts very carefully on each of the mornings before you go, because it is quite a fast-moving situation. And I'll see you next week. Bye, folks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Whoa,
No.
there you go. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but let's swap you for Johnny for a second.
Johnny. Here we go. I've been monitoring the complaints department, Ian. Jane said, can we have the weather picture big enough? John says, yes, I agree. With respect, weather picture be larger than that of Simon. That Euro chart was a bit small. Next week, can we have Simon small and big weather?
I'll do my best.
As much as we love him.
As much as we love him, we're going to make him smaller. And but for right now, we're going to make Johnny big, and we're going to make Johnny big because Johnny is going to be playing the part of Sarah. We give you a quick club promo. Sarah's caught the lurgy, and so Johnny, do your best, Sarah.
Right, I can't do the voice, but join the Fly Club. So at the moment,
you can still make use of November's landing vouchers. They are Edsfield, Land's End, Longside, and Brighton City, aka Shoreham. You can join now if you're not a member from just £5 a month, or for the full year for £52. We've got some new discounts in at the moment, so 10% off. Some leather gifts from Asali Designs, things like headset bags, that kind of thing. And also 10% off initial paintwork protection from Russell Aviation. So if you are a member, you'll find out more about that in the next couple of days. And yeah, I was reading that off a completely different screen.
10% off some leather gifts. Whoa, run live stream.
So yeah, if you're not a member, there's a reminder on the bottom: £52 a year, or £5 a month, and that's what looks of a latte these days.
What kind of wow. You have an expensive latte.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's just try something a little bit different. Let's shift Dave over here. And I think it must be, in that case, now you've done the club promo, it's got to be time for news. So we're going to switch over to news and see. Dave, you got the first story.
Right. Well, the top story is about Compton Abbas Airfield, where the flight school is up for sale. And it's up for sale for what appears to be a fairly bargain price. You merely have to agree and negotiate a price on the PA-28 training aircraft seen here. This chap in front of it is called Alex. He passed his PPL skill test earlier this month. And in fact, if you look at what the Facebook page of Compton Abbas Airfield, and they pass through quite a lot of people. There's at least 2 or 3 people every month passing their skill test or having their first solo. It's a busy little flying school. Anyway, you should probably know that the airfield was sold to movie director Guy Ritchie recently. He owns the nearby and neighbouring Ashcombe estate, but he said that he wants flight operations to continue, but he doesn't particularly want to run the flying school. So a statement from Compton Abbas Airfield said, having agreed to sale, the outgoing owners are keen to find a buyer operator for the very successful flight school. The whole business, including the client base, the necessary training documentation, manuals, etc., can be bought for the price of the Piper PA-28 training aircraft. And if you're interested in buying it, then you should contact Clive Hughes, who's the current owner, and contact him by email. There's a story on Flyer with the email address you should use.
What's the going rate for a used PA-28 these days? About £400,000 or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the training aircraft are in demand, aren't they? Because the professional pilot training industry is going through quite good times at the moment, and they're buying up all the aircraft they can. So I guess a used PA-28 is probably 60, 70, 80.
Who knows?
But still, it's not bad. Bearing in mind, like you say, Compton Abbas, the flying school there, and Compton Abbas as an airfield, is a busy old place, isn't it? So
it is a busy old place. And it's a lovely, very lovely place as well.
Yeah. There's a link in the comments if you're feeling like running a flight school is for you.
Surely good. Ed, I think you're next with your story.
Microlight. Yes, microlight news. The BMAA have approved another light sport microlight. This is the Comco Icarus C42C model. So the latest light sport microlight that they've granted approval to, and it's got a max takeoff weight of 560 kilograms, allowing a full payload of 275 kilograms, which means 100 kg for 2 crew each, full fuel, and 30 kg for baggage. It's a variant of the already popular C42C. It's been around in Germany for 6 years. And had been cleared up to 450 kilograms, but it's obviously now been increased with some structural changes. And Icarus Comco say the C42C is a major evolution of the C42. It's got a revised aerofoil, clipped wings, completely new roof and door structure, and uses a lot more carbon to keep the empty weight down. You've got a choice of 80 or 100 horsepower Rotax engines. And if you fancy one, then you can order one via the UK dealer, which is the Light Aircraft Company based at Little Snoring.
That's actually a payload for a microlight, if you think about it.
I think it's probably the only one to challenge that is the Ninja. Ninja, the 600, because they've got a Ninja that's a 600 kg version, isn't it? And the thing only weighs like 4 kilos, so you've got like 500 kilos.
596 kilos useful load. Yeah, absolutely. Good. Right, talking about useful load, here's a story. It's slightly difficult for me to do this story, really, because in the comments over there we got Paul Fraser-Bennison, who was deeply involved in this, so he'll probably correct me all over the place. But basically, effectively, when we, as you'll know, when we went for Brexit, we decided that we, as being the UK government, decided through either ignorance, political dogma, or whatever else, that they weren't going to get EGNOS, so we don't have the EGNOS signal anymore. And the government invested £500 million of our money into a bankrupt company called OneWeb, which is a low Earth orbit. They've usefully provided this graphic here. You can see just how good they are at navigation, because the whole satellite constellation has provided a flag to go United Kingdom. I mean, who'd have thought it? Amazing, isn't it, really? But there you go. So, and they were kind of hoping that maybe with the OneWeb satellite, although it is a low orbit, they might provide some kind of GNSS for the UK. Although, interestingly, you need a huge number of satellites at low Earth orbit in order to do that. And those in the know have probably kind of commented that it's never really going to be capable of providing SBAS, satellite-based augmentation system. So it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, the UK only generates £360 billion a year of business that relies on kind of PNT, position, navigation and timing stuff through satellites, and a 5-day outage would only cost us $5 billion. So that's barely a PPE mask, isn't it, for a pier or something? So anyway, basically they've screwed it up, and there's been a whole load of presentations to the government and various committees that have kind of explained just how bad it is, and asked them to do something about it. Like, maybe, yeah, this is brilliant and OneWeb will be amazing, but in the meantime, can we just like contract quietly on EGNOS and get that back? So that's all been going through Parliament at the moment, and I think basically they'll probably just give it a good ignoring, I imagine, as usual. Maybe that's me being just a little bit too cynical. I don't know. Who's got the next story? That must be
it's Johnny.
I think it's me about Southend, isn't it?
There you go.
That's me. Good. Yeah. So if you're looking at the weather and thinking, crikey, I'm not going to be able to stay current, if you want to get some cheap landings on a hard runway, you can over at Southend. They're offering circuits for £6 each. So this is obviously London Southend Airport. The offer is from the 21st of November to the 31st of March. Your aircraft must weigh below 2.4 tons. There's an initial landing fee of £6, which is a reduction on the £24 plus VAT per ton normal landing fee, apparently. And then each touch and go after that, £6. And there's no minimum or maximum, so you could spend all day there bashing the circuit for £6 a go. I think it's probably giving the controllers some currency as well, as well as pilots. But they're sort of saying that they're supporting the GA community with an option for winter. So yeah, good on them.
So Darren Lewington's slightly biased on the basis that he comes from Southend. Isn't that right, Darren? Does it?
Going back to the earlier story about the flying school being for sale, someone has suggested that Flyer Magazine could buy the club and give us all free membership. I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Possibly a bridge too far.
That's it. Yes. Jane says, great idea. It'd be good to have a flying school. Ian could be CFI.
Right, we're going to have track up only. That's all there is. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. No, don't worry.
You could imagine the pain of going, I'm going to give you this chart and this Chinograph marker.
Well, there wouldn't be a bloody chart or a Chinograph marker for a start, would there? There wouldn't be a CRB5. Wouldn't be any of that stuff. But anyway, and it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. Dave, I think you've got a story coming up next, haven't you?
Yes, this is. There is such a thing as a free lunch, and it's being offered by British Aerobatics. They want to try and pick your brains for ideas about how they might improve how British Aerobatics, the association behind competitions in the UK, and they support the British team in international events. They want to come up with new ideas about how they can promote aerobatics. So they're holding 2 events. The first one is at White Waltham on Sunday, the 4th of December. and they're going to give away a free lunch to anybody who turns up and participates. The second one will be at least Leeds East Airfield on the 22nd of January next year. So Steve Todd, who is the chairman of British Aerobatics, he told us that we're having a major rethink of the purpose and practice of British Aerobatics, and we need your help. Come and join us at White Waltham for a no-holds-barred ideas session on the future of the association. We're looking for your ideas on how to improve the association in 3 areas: making contests more enjoyable, getting more pilots involved, and modernising the sport. If you want to go along, all they want you to do is just email. There's an email address on the story on flyer. Just email them because they need to know how many numbers to cater for. I mean, we were bashing this around earlier today, and the big problem with aerobatics is it's really expensive. So somehow reducing the cost of participating will be a good point.
Yeah, and one of the thoughts was you need to start with the very low end stuff, don't you? And go, actually, you can do all this with a Cessna 152. You don't need an extra.
No.
So.
No, absolutely. Talking of cheap aeroplanes, and there's got to be a joke in there somewhere about bringing that free lunch back up with aerobatics, isn't there? But I think we'll probably just move on swiftly.
Certainly, yeah. Yes. So some new powertrain news. Ampere, which is the US hybrid powertrain developer, they've flown their Eco Caravan, which uses their 550 horsepower red aircraft V12 diesel, which combines with Ampere's electrical system, which adds peak power and a battery and charging system. And interestingly, the red V12 diesel engine is also burning sustainable aviation fuel. The 33-minute flight was made by test pilot Elliot Seguin, who you'll know pretty famously from the internet, and took place from Camarillo Airport north of Los Angeles. The aeroplane flew for about half an hour and went up to 3,500 feet. Ampere says the Eco Caravan will be the first electrified regional aircraft to enter commercial service, and they're aiming for certification in 2024. And the CEO, Kevin Nutker, said aviation is the hardest industry to decarbonise. Well, there's probably no surprise there, is there? So fully electric aircraft are range limited because of the weight and energy capacity of current generation batteries. Hybrid electric aircraft, however, can preserve the range and utility of today's aircraft.
That's not a looker.
At the cost of making it
the normal Caravan's not a looker anyway, is it? But that from the nose forward is just all ugly.
Yeah.
That makes a normal Caravan look like a Stelio Frati design.
I was thinking that.
that is like we've added in extra ugly.
And that's the flattering angle on the very ugly aeroplane as well. It looks even worse from the front.
Yeah,
it's a kind of aeroplane that passengers would walk up to on the ramp, and you just hear them shouting, "My eyes, my eyes!"
Help me! Right. Anyway, okay. Next story. Enniskillen. It could be Enniskillen. Could well be. And here's a picture of Enniskillen, just in case you didn't know what it looked like. Enniskillen could well be the first UK Hangar home community. Developer Peter Day is thinking he hasn't quite got planning permission yet, but he has applied for planning permission, and things look pretty good. He wants to build 10 hangar homes there, plus 1 clubhouse. There's restrictions there, kind of given that the area's main business is tourism. There won't be permanent homes, so you won't be able to live there all year round. You have to rent them out to a few other people or leave them empty if you want. But you get access to the runway, you get access to the lock for boating and fishing. Not quite clear whether you get access for seaplanes. I suspect not, to be perfectly honest. But he's hoping for planning permission to come through. If you want to know more, head on over to the story on the website and click on it and see if you can't buy yourself a hangar home in Enniskillen. So there you go. Now, if our guests in the green room could just cover their ears just for a little bit, we just need to mention the Fly to Help ball that's not this weekend, but next weekend. So, Johnny, just mention this bit quickly.
Yeah, it's the Fly to Help ball, which is not this weekend, but next weekend. in Cheltenham. No, it's at the Doubletree in Cheltenham. Yeah, Friday, 2nd of December from 7 p.m. till midnight. If you want to go, I'm just about to put the email address in the comments. It is info@flighttohelp.org.
And I believe Darren Lewington will probably be there doing a South End accent, isn't he? But there you go. Right, Dave.
So the final news item tonight is about Aerobatics, which has opened its online auction for more than 70 aviation-themed items, including several money can't buy experiences, one of which is a place on a future flyer live stream. The auction comes ahead of Aerobatics' annual Aviators Ball, which is on Saturday, 26th of November. That's this Saturday. Oh, right.
Day after tomorrow.
Just twigged that, sorry. Both the ball and the auction raise funds for the charity, which helps disabled people flying light aircraft. I mean, among the items for sale are some pretty fantastic things. A flight in a Western Wasp helicopter, a winter escape in, I'm not sure about this one actually, winter escape in Jedburgh, Scotland. That's going to be very wintry. Flying a glider with the British Army, a Spitfire simulator experience, a Scottish seaplane adventure. We know who that's going to be with. That's Hamish. But there's also, as well as the silent auction leading up to Saturday, there's also these live things going on as well, which are going to complete on the Saturday. So amongst those items, there's some fantastic things again. There is Ray Hanna's. You may remember Ray Hanna is a legendary aerobatic pilot, former Red Arrow. His Red Arrow suit is up for auction. They don't actually say much about whether it's been washed or not, but anyway, it's there. It's up for auction.
Dave, when you say many items that money can't buy, actually, money can buy them. Well, and it can buy them by entering into the auction, I suggest.
I'm actually using Aerobatics' own words there.
Okay.
I checked online earlier, and I'm happy to say that Chris Winch, who's in the comments, he's actually the highest bidder currently. So, and Chris is a regular. So, if you fancy maybe outbidding Chris,
yeah, definitely.
What items that's for the Ray Hanna suit?
Sorry,
no. No, it's for something much more important than the Ray Hanna suit. It's for a specific guest presenter on Livestream. Right, enough of this. I think it's time to bring in our guests. So there you go. I'm going to bring in our guests here. Hello and welcome. Thank you very much, Shona and Laurie. Now, before we start talking to you, I should point out, Shona learned to fly while she was at school, went solo when she was 16, has been flying commercially for 25 years, currently flies an Airbus A320, as well as the Dragon Rapide for Silonia, is also a mum of two, plus owner of a bird dog, I believe. And Laurie Gregoire learned to fly gliders when he was at university, became a licensed engineer. Now he's commercial pilot flying Embraers and also helps at Aerobatics. And Shona, I forgot to mention, is the chair at Aerobatics. So great timing here, getting ready for the ball this weekend and the auction and everything else. So welcome, Shona. Welcome, Laurie. How are you both doing?
We're good. Thank you very much, Ian. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to see you.
A little bit manic with the run up to the ball on Saturday, but we can spare time for you guys.
Yeah, excellent. Well, there can't be that much to do. It must all be sorted by now. There can't be any details left, can there?
Yeah, nothing to do.
Nothing left. Nothing to do. Right. So, before I'm guessing we will talk about the ball and some of the fantastic prices in a bit, because Aerobatics is an amazing charity. As well, you clearly know that very well. And I think you also instruct at Aerobatics as well, don't you? In your spare time, of which you must have loads.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. But yeah, doing a bit of instructing there. But mostly, I'm involved now on the board level, where I sit as the in a voluntary position as the chair of the board of directors. But yeah, it's great charity, does amazing things for so many people. And a big plug for the Aerobatics Ball. Thank you very much, Dave, for that. As we said, the auction's there, and every single penny raised will make a massive difference. So thank you.
Absolutely, and I think there'll probably be a whole bunch of people in the comments going. I'll certainly be there. I can't guarantee there'll be any sensible conversation coming from me beyond about 8 o'clock.
That's what we like.
And that's kind of pushing it a bit.
Yeah.
Keep bidding, Ian. Keep bidding.
The more the bidding goes, so it's great.
I remember a couple of years ago, I did actually get a phone call from I think it was from it wasn't from Mike, but it was from someone at Blackbush, and they said it was about 3 months after. He said, "Are you going to come and collect your painting?" I went, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You've been and you won this painting." I went, "Really?" Apparently, I'd bought a painting, so I did actually come and pay for it and took it away. So there you go. But, yeah. Anyway, right, but we're not really here to talk about that, although it is amazing, and you should go. We're here to talk about your new life of as TV stars. A couple of weeks ago, on Warplane Workshop, I believe it's called now. You were on the second episode, and it was all about the restoration of your bird dog. So do you want to? We've got some pictures. I've got a little picture here of not that one. I didn't put that
That's the finished product.
Yeah. There you go. That's the one. That's kind of the bird dog. Do you want to just talk us through where that was?
Yeah, well, that is when it was in Honolulu in Hawaii. We never saw it. We literally saw an advert on Trader Plane. We were looking for a project, and it was an intact aeroplane. It had flown not long before that picture was taken, and so we quite literally made a bid. It was sold as seen, but only via photographs, and we found a local engineer to give it a very quick look over, and we basically took it on, and it was put into a container and shipped across the globe to Membry, where we opened the container and for the first time got eyes on what we bought.
What was the feeling when you opened the door to the container and saw it in there? Was it kind of like, at that point, was it like massive anticipation and love at first sight, or was it like, oh my God, what is that?
Well, you were at work, so you didn't even see it.
We've been tracking a bit like, Flight Radar 24. There's a shipping radar app, and he'd been tracking the progress of our container around the globe, sending me messages at God knows what time of the night, telling me where it was, and it's in Singapore and it's in the Suez Canal. He was ever so excited. So when finally got to Membry, he was very excited.
I was, but you only have a few hours to unload a container before you start getting charged. So it's more a case of get the doors open, get everything unscrewed, unbolted, and get it out as quick as you can.
And when you first saw it, Shona, did you turn up and go, was it ready yet?
Well, yeah. When it was taken apart and put into the container, it was in flying condition. So, put the wings back on, let's go flying. What's the problem?
So when did it actually arrive?
October
17.
17 it would have been, yeah.
October 17.
Yeah.
So and it first flew
September 21.
Okay, so it's 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
That's just about the time for an average annual, isn't it?
Yeah, it was we knew it was going to take a while, and actually, in the big scheme of things, considering the amount of work we did, 4 years seems like it was actually quite quick. But yeah, it's I think in the end the whole pandemic worked in our favor. There was a lot of extra time. If that hadn't happened, we probably still wouldn't be flying yet. So yeah, it was certainly two slightly slower years, and then the last two were pretty full on. Pretty
rapid. I must admit, I did watch the program. I think the standout moment for me in all of them was actually you, Laurie. I'm sure this was staged anyway, but you kind of like slid out a pristine leading edge from a tube that you bought for not very much money from a warehouse in America somewhere.
Only 6 takes. That was all it was. Well, it looked pristine actually because it got slid out the tube because it already come out of the paint shop. I will concede that. All we did actually was reprime the inside. Actually, it was in pretty good condition. But yeah, we got lucky with a lot of parts, and there's still parts out there. I bought a new brake master cylinder just the other week off a guy in Texas for not a lot, and they're still all out there in their sealed bags. And if you know where to look, there's lots of bits for ex-US military early 50s aircraft. It's all there.
When you're rebuilding a bird dog, though, are there some parts that are unobtainable? Is there anything that's like everyone goes, oh no, you're missing one of those? That's impossible.
Well, you can't get most of the wing bits. You can get a few bits of rib that are different. There's a few of those around, but most of the main wing parts, like spars, you can't get anymore. So when we needed a new main spar, we had to get one from Cessna for a 172. Because unbelievably, Cessna still make Bird Dog wings. They just sell them as the 172 these days. It's the same drawing, believe it or not, that was used in the 1950s. Because I rang up Cessna and said, can we prove to the CAA that the spar is the same as a 172? So can I have the 172 drawing? Can I have the Bird Dog wing drawing? And they said, well, I can give you the 172 wing drawing for the spar, for this part of the spar cap. But it doesn't say anything on it because it just says refer to the such and such a drawing number, which was the Bird Dog. So
brilliant.
Finding the part was easy. Getting approval to use the part
finding the part was a doddle. Yeah.
So I have a little side by side comparison here, kind of like the cockpit as it came out of the container, I guess, and the cockpit as it was all going together. So there's clearly huge amounts. I mean, I presume you expected, even though it had flown just before, you expected it to be a kind of completely strip everything, rebuild everything project. It wasn't kind of just, we'll just give it a quick wash over and it should be fine.
No, I mean, we wanted a project. Laurie, being the perfectionist engineer that he is, would have taken anything apart to get it right. So we figured if we start with a whole aeroplane, that at least we know there is one of everything, better than buying somebody's half-done project, which there were a few options of photographs of just things on shelves. So we thought, well, at least we've got one of everything. So if it isn't in working order, we can at least get another one or copy it or make another one, however it was. So we always knew it was going to be a lot of work. We knew it was in Hawaii, therefore it had been sat out in the salty air and was likely to have had corrosion. But it was like all these things, we slowly took bits apart, and the more you took apart, the more was revealed. And I don't think we expected to. I mean, we did literally replace every single rivet, every single screw, every bolt, the whole lot was done. All this, well, the skins were taken off, some were replaced, some were made new. It was it was a lot of work, but every tiny little bit that we did properly. And the perfectionist, where I would have been slightly tempted to say, nobody will see that bit, it's underneath the wing, nobody will know, it had to be perfect. But the end result, as I'm sure you can see from the pictures, and if anybody ever comes to see it, they'll see it's get all the little bits perfect, you end up with an absolute.
Well, it ought to last another 70 years. It's done 70 already, so it should be good for another.
Was there a point in the restoration was there ever a point where you went, maybe this is a bit much. Maybe we're going to run into a brick wall.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, the determination was there, and or his ingenuity, he would have fixed whatever needed fixing. Might take a bit longer, but
clearly it wasn't a serious project. Then you need a bit to be a bit more ambitious for the next one.
Well, that was the first metal aeroplane you've ever done, wasn't it? So
yeah. I mean, we've done as we laughed in the hangar up at Membry. If it had been plastic, probably would have finished it 2 years earlier. But there we go, metal. As soon as you make one mistake, you've got to go back and start again.
Can you get sort of all your transparencies and everything for it? Is that relatively easy?
Yeah, they're actually very good value. The company that made them originally still makes them, still had the original molds. Yeah, just order them up. A couple of months later, they turn up. Joys of old American airplanes as opposed to old British ones.
What about the rockets?
Oh well, they were kind of a necessity, really, weren't they? The racks are real and original. The rocket tubes are exact copies, and if I had real rockets, they would fire. It is all wired, and it does all work, but the rockets themselves are 3D printed.
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We had one dummy round, and we basically copied the dummy round.
Did the CAA say anything when you said you wanted to put rockets on there?
Well, many years ago, the first Bird Dog that came in the country came in with dummy rockets, and the CAA approved it then, so they couldn't really say no. All the bomb racks and shackles and things like that are all on the parts catalogue and maintenance manual, so they're all already approved. So you can just
does it have a C of A?
Yeah, it's a C of A. Standard CAT C of A, IFR, yeah.
Wow.
That's and so what? Okay, so you there you were going through trader pain, thinking, "Well, we need a project." Really, it was obviously winter, rainy outside or something, and you were bored. Is there a reason that you picked the bird dog? I mean, could you have picked something else, or?
No, it wasn't so much as going through trader pain abroad. It was we were looking specifically for a bird dog. So, I'm mad enough to have been completely and utterly focused on only a bird dog and nothing else since I did my PPL when I was 17, however many years ago that was. And if you've seen our TV appearance, you'll probably know, but we did it really because of a book that I read when I was 17 called Vietnam Above the Treetops, written by a guy, John Flanagan, who flew bird dogs in Vietnam. And I was flying Super Cubs and Pawnees at the time, glider towing. So to read a book about somebody flying single engine tailwheel aeroplanes, but actually out in Vietnam being shot at the same time as trying to be orchestrator of incredible, I mean, crikey, could show us airline pilots a thing or two about multitasking, what they were having to do, managing the conflict, the different communications between all the different platforms. It was just phenomenal. The story is well worth a read. And that was it. From then on, I was like, right, one day I'm going to see a bird dog. Happened to go to New Zealand to the World Gliding Championships were on, and there was a bird dog there as a tow plane. So I was like, wow, first time I've ever seen a bird dog. And from then on, I was determined one day, if possible, I'd like to have at least a small share in one. And of course, Laurie said, well, don't have to have a small share in one. Let's see if we can find one. And that was it. A few projects, a few other ones were mooted as maybes. But then he sent me the picture and said, I found one. And that was it.
Was it one of those deals where you went, oh, this is too good to be true?
No, definitely not. No, we knew it was knackered.
We knew it was a knackered, but I think in fact, what happened, because it was in Hawaii and it was advertised for quite a lot and it had been on the market for quite a long time, we sent a few emails to some people in the States to say, do you know anything about this particular bird dog? And they said, well, no, but we know it's been on the market for a long while. Make them a silly offer. And so nobody would go over and have a look at it because it cost you a bomb to fly out to Hawaii, even from the States, just to go and have a look at it. So yeah, we made them a silly offer.
We did. It's partly to do with the shipping between Hawaii and the mainland US. It actually cost half as much to ship it all the way around the world the other way than it did just to ship it to California. I guess that put off some of the American buyers.
So can I ask a question? Why is it called a bird dog, and what was its role as a warbird?
The reason it's called a bird dog is there is a bit of an interesting story, because actually it was brought about at a time when they were looking for another liaison aircraft, a forward air controlling aircraft, to sort of replace the role that would have been flown by the Cubs and the Osters. And the US Air Force put out a invitation to aircraft manufacturers to produce something that would do that job but better. So they had to pass sort of performance timed trials, the stolen performance effectively. Cessna cobbled together what they had in the factory and thought, well, we'll shove a 180 tail and a
195 tail, 170 wings, and a sort of cobbled together fuselage and the biggest engine they could find.
Whatever they could find, they put it all together, and lo and behold, it actually won. So it was awarded the contract, but it at this point didn't have a name. So they parked it up outside the gate on the Air Force base that it was, with a sign underneath it saying, "Name me, please name me." And when you see a bird dog sitting on the ground, it kind of looks like it's got its nose up in the air wanting to go flying. And the Americans would call what we would call a gun dog a bird dog. So it kind of looks like it's there on point, ready to go flying. And that's probably actually, for me, the aesthetics of the airplane. I just love the fact that it's got its nose up and it's almost just saying, take me flying, please, please take me flying. So that's why it's called a bird dog. And your other question, Dave, in Vietnam, it was used literally as a forward air control platform. So from low level flying just above the treetops, visibly spotting the troops on the ground. If they were taking conflict and were calling in airstrikes, they would go and locate them by, Mark 1 eyeball looking out the window to spot them. They'd then fire the smoke rockets, which is what we've got our replica rockets, which were smoke grenades to target mark. Occasionally, if they didn't have a rocket, they'd throw a hand grenade out the window, and then they would then move themselves out the way and call in and coordinate the airstrikes from the. I mean, there was a massive amount of American air power out there, but it couldn't see what was going on. It's all in the jungle, and directing the strikes based on where the smoke was, and then of course coordinating medivacs and all the helicopters, the Hueys and things that would come in and do the medivac. So they were the eyes and the ears and the controllers from the beginning to the end of conflicts. You know, they were an absolutely vital role.
So 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and lots of work, and during the sort of COVID lockdown stuff, and then it gets its first flight, and it obviously I watched the TV program, and it had its test flight and stuff like that. And so, Shona, you're getting in the front, you're strapped in for your first flight. What does that feel like, and how nervous were you, and how does it fly compared to other stuff you've flown?
Ooh, it was fantastic. We were very fortunate to have John Corley offered to do the test flying for us. So he flew it first, came back and was happy. And then we decided, well, I would say we tossed a coin, but Laurie was very generous in saying, Shona, you have to fly it first. I wasn't quite brave enough to just jump in and go. So I said to John, do you mind sitting behind me? And he was brave enough to sit behind me. So the first flight was myself in the front and John in the back. Although he did say, I've got no idea what I'll do from the back seat if I need to do anything, but I'll come and keep you company. I mean, it's obviously got a high performance, 213 horsepower it claims to have. And you feel that. You open the throttle. I mean, we were airborne before you'd even really had a chance to get the tail up. And the Viz is phenomenal. I think that's probably the thing. Compared to Super Cubs, even things like the Pawnee, it is really a full panorama. And in fact, from the back seat, you can't see it quite so well in that picture, but the windows go right there, look right across the top, right around you. So you really can see all around. You get amazing view. Certain bit of sort of just clinging on, thinking, crikey, now I'm going to have to go and try and land this. But yeah, it was absolutely perfect. You know, as John said after the first test flight, it flew straight, it handled beautifully. I mean, I don't think we needed to do anything really, did we, to tweak it when we after those first few flights came back in, and slight dilemma about whether it was to try and wheel it on or whether to try and do a 3-pointer. Being a bit of a purist, I'll probably set all sorts of discussions here, but I wanted to 3-point it. And so it actually went down beautifully for my first landing. We were still trying to work out which flap settings to use. It's got absolutely bonkers flaps on it. And so I think, what did we use the first time? We just using
we were messing
30.
around with 30 because that's all I'd flown on seaplanes.
Yeah.
Bird dogs on floats, you just use 30. So if you use 45, it just comes down like a rock. Unsurprisingly.
Bird dog on wheels.
On
45
wheels, 45 is the way to go.
If you're really brave, it's got 60-degree flap, but that is.
Oh, dude, 60.
Yeah. it's absolutely like a barn door.
Are they mechanical flaps, presumably?
Yes, they are on ours. Again, that was a mod. We decided we could have had the option for the electric flaps. There's a lot of bird dogs with that model. In fact, I'd kind of take responsibility for that because, again, being the purist, I was like, no, I want a handle. The handle it's quite awkward to reach when I'm sat in the seat. I have to loosen my belt to go down and get the flap lever. And it's a
hell of a pull as well. It's a very long handle. It's about a 3-foot long handle. And it's almost, it comes halfway up your waist when you're at flap 60. It's almost in your armpit. It is almost it's a big pull, and they're huge. So if you're going too fast, you can't get the flaps out.
I was going to say, yeah, because I occasionally fly 180, and that if you're going too fast and you try and get the flaps, that's a mechanical thing, and that's quite a pull if you're going a bit too fast. So what controls have you got in the back then?
You've got a full set of flying controls in the back. We haven't got any instruments, but you've got a throttle, quadrant, and stick and rudder.
You just can't see anything.
Yeah, it's, in fairness, the way we've designed the panel, we've got the sort of classic instruments on the extreme. So actually, Laurie can see the panel nicely if I'm in the front, but with his broad shoulders, I have to ask him to move slightly to left or right. But with to be honest, with Sky Demon on your knee, you don't need much more else, really, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Good plug.
I guess the critical question was it all worth it for you, Shona?
Oh God, yes, absolutely. I mean, worth it for just that. We've always said this. It was not a museum piece. It's not intended to ever be a museum piece. It's beautiful. It really is. It's. I say it's immaculate. It's immaculate, but we want to fly it and we want to try. We've already taken it down to the Scillies for a trip. We've taken it. Well, crikey, we've been all over the place. But this year, we were really fortunate to get invited to a couple of big events. We were invited to RIAT, so we had the VIP treatment at RIAT, same at Everingham Hall. Obviously, we had the privilege of winning at Goodwood last year. If nothing else, it's been worth it for that. But to be able to take friends and family, people that have heard me harp on about bird dogs for the last 30 years to take flight, it's just been fantastic.
Amazing. Well, we're kind of running out of time on the bird dog, but we look forward to meeting up at some time in the spring or something. And
yeah, we'd love to going.
Just a one in the comments. John Park talking about the auction earlier. He said, "Can we simply make a donation?"
Absolutely, you can. That would be fantastic. Thank you. If you just go on to aviatorsball.com, that will take you straight to our website where you can follow the link. And on the auction website, there is a tab along the side and it says make a donation. And that would be very gratefully received. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. And well, there's lots to talk about and lots of things that we can. That's
a donation no one wants.
But I didn't mean to spoil everybody's enjoyment by dancing, okay? But it was just it won't happen again, don't worry. Probably, maybe not, who knows. Thank you very much for your time. Amazing project. Laurie, was your first flight, was there kind of like apprehension, or were you kind of like at one with it, given that you knew every single rivet of it by then?
Well, I don't know. It's quite different to Super Cubs and other things. It's probably closer to 180 actually. So it was a little bit. It was interesting, shall we say? I was probably more nervous about bending it than anyone else, having spent so many thousands of hours on it. But
he just wanted to do a better landing than me on his first landing. You see, that was all.
Yeah, I didn't.
Has it got a G meter in it?
G meter? No.
Yeah. So you can't mark your landings on.
No.
No, that's not.
Anyway, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you both at the Aviators Ball on Saturday. We'll catch up in the first hour before.
Yes.
And presumably you're up on stage presenting and everything else, so you'll be.
I shall be, busy doing my bit. But once fundraising is over and the dancing is done, then we will have a beer. It'll be lovely.
Yeah, I look forward to that. And everybody, don't forget, please go onto the Aerobatics website, go and either bid for one of the silent auctions or silent auction items, or make a donation. And don't forget, you too can be a presenter on Livestream, and you can do a much better job than I can, for sure. So get on there and go for it now.
Absolutely. John Park asked for the link to make a donation. I've just found it on, so it looks like gobbledygook there, but actually if you follow that link, that'll take you to the donation page for Airability on there for the Aviators Ball. So
brilliant. Thank you very much, and we look forward to and also we look forward to maybe seeing the Dragon Rapide as well sometime next year.
Absolutely, we'll have that out and about in the spring, so yeah, definitely.
What do you prefer, Dragon Rapide or Bird Dog?
Oh gosh, there's a question. A very different beast. I love the Rapide because I just love the fact that it's obviously rare. It's an absolute privilege to fly it, but it gives so many people so much joy when they fly it. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's I'm glad I don't have to pay to look after it. That's all I'd say.
I'm just constantly, because they're what are they, Gypsy?
It's Queen 3, yeah.
I'm just amazed that whenever I see two of them actually managing to start at the same time, it's kind of like.
Apart from the Bird Dog, it is probably the best looked after aeroplane I fly. It's beautifully fettled and managed, and yeah, it's a beautiful aeroplane.
Excellent. Good. Well, thank you very much for your time again. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. See you both there. And thanks
Thank
very
you very much.
Speak for Fantasy.
Wow, very good. A fabulous airplane and a fantastic charity. So lots of good stuff there.
Loads of good stuff. Well, over to you then, Nate.
Yes, and obviously inspired by our guests, Shona and Laurie, and their fantastic warbird restoration project. That got us thinking, hey, well, let's go looking in the classifieds and find something for our own fancy hangar project. So who's first?
I think we're going to make Dave go first this week.
I knew you were going to say that. I have found this wonderful Douglas DC-3 project. Yeah, look at that. It's a genuine 1944 D-Day veteran. It also took part in the Market Garden operation, which followed D-Day. It doesn't come with engines, so it's just there. But I have a cunning plan. So my cunning plan is to take this and go up to Oshkosh, where there's a company called Basler Turbo, and get them to renovate the aircraft and equip it with the Basler, the Basler Turbo conversion, which are a pair of Pratt & Whitney PT6s. They rebuild the whole aircraft and make a fantastic job of it. And it's got a couple of turboprop engines on there. It'd be fabulous.
So you've taken this veteran DC-3 with great heritage and stuck two boring turbines on it.
I did look at the cost and availability of the original engines, which are both Pratt & Whitney, by the way, but they're radials. They're the twin Wasp, as they call it. I found one on eBay for about $12,500. It looked like it would be best used as a doorstop. But otherwise, those twin Wasps are quite hard to find. So I guess they would probably cost more than this project.
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised. You'd lose. Demarcus Clark is like, Dave wins a genuine warbird. Yeah, but what's he planning to do with it, Dave? It's like I got this Spitfire and Merlins.
It's like putting a red diesel V12 in a Spitfire.
Yeah. So I've put Garrett turbine on it.
I can make a Spitfire look ugly.
Richard Kennedy's like, no, Dave, what a travesty. Dave was on for the win, but that can't be allowed now.
No. Okay, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in now because I know what's coming, and I kind of feel I need to get this one out early to stand any chance of. Yeah, exactly, Darren. Exactly. So, Darren Lewington, arbiter of all things Southend like, what do you think of this? Look at this, a Sea Fury, an absolute beaut. This is kind of an unmodified airframe. So as they say in the ad, you can make yourself a racer, although why would you want to do that? Or just a beautifully restored warbird. Personally, I kind of think the single-seat Sea Fury looks significantly better than the two-seat versions that that seem to be quite common. This has kind of got almost all the bits. Although all of the bits need quite a bit of work, but that's okay because you can buy the whole collection of bits for just $475,000 and then spend your whole time. Now, I reckon looking at this looks to me like it's in better condition than that Bird Dog that Laurie and Shona had. So I think Laurie and Shona should perhaps consider this as their next project. So there you go. I reckon Sea Fury is kind of what's going on there? What's that? wrong. Sea Fury's got to be the way to go. That's single Sea Fury.
That Sea Fury looks like it's when you watch Grand Designs and Kevin asks how much the budget is.
Yeah,
you come up with a number, and then when Ian finally finished the Sea Fury restoration, it'd be like it costs a lot more, didn't it, Ian?
We spent a little bit more on the transponder because I reckon there's probably you know, the trouble is, if you're going to pay like crafts people $100 an hour to work on your Sea Fury restoration, it's going to cost you a fortune, isn't it? But
it is.
Yeah.
But coming soon to a garage in Wiltshire.
Yeah.
Coming soon to a garage in Wiltshire. Sadly, it's not that. It would have to go in my fancy hangar with my fantasy warbird restoration team. So I reckon you.
Stuart's obviously doing the channeling Dave bit. Ian's going to put a rotor in there.
No, actually, I'm gonna just like park the fantasy hangar for a second. I mean, how much does it cost to get an O360 rebuilt or something?
I like homing.
Yeah, roughly speaking.
Oh, I don't know. Probably 25 grand.
What if you just send one off to Nicholson McLaren? Do you reckon?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a bit more than that, but there you go. I was looking at the prices for to get a rebuilt Jacobs radial for a 195.
Yeah.
Cheap as chips. Unbelievably cheap. I reckon radials these days are cheaper than Lycomings or Continentals. I reckon the 0470 in my 182 cost me more than a non-core.
There's someone who would definitely know. Bob Crow would definitely know. So I think we can take that as a good number.
Tony, but yeah, good number indeed. Tony Crow. Yeah, so I reckon a Jacobs radial will be about that in dollars.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, Lyndon Griffith disagrees. Dream on over 40k.
Well,
believe me.
Who's next?
Who's next?
Ed's next.
It's me next. Okay, so I found this. It's a fantastic 1945 Goodyear FG1D Corsair with that distinctive bent wing and big radial. It's a favourite warbird for many. And looking at the photo, I thought, hey, that doesn't look like that's going to need much work, and it looks flyable. Then I clicked on the next photo in the stack, and you go, it's like, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure that tail is pointing in the same direction as the rest of the fuselage. And there's some bits in that collection of stuff that's going to need more than polishing out with T-cut. Reading the description, this one had been an Oshkosh Award winner. It had a 13-year restoration, but unfortunately it had a landing accident in 2019 that left it in the condition it's currently in. Apparently, very original aeroplane. The current price just for this project, as for the bits you see there, is nearly $1.3 million. In perfect condition, apparently it's worth upwards of 3.5 million. But clearly there's some money to be spent there. But I love a Corsair, and if I had the money, I think I would enjoy that project. But this is one of those projects. The more you look, the more you realise that quite a lot of it is broken. It's like the undercarriage legs are snapped off. One wing is really bent. The fuselage is actually snapped in half in the middle, which is why the front and the back don't point in the same directions. But all the bits are there. So,
wow,
yeah, that's and then I guess finally we come to probably the bargain of the evening.
This is definitely the bargain of the evening, I feel.
Yeah, well, on purchase price, yes. Probably not on running costs. So this is pretty much ready to roll. Twin engines, afterburning, 2-seat jet that's currently for sale in California. It's a Jaguar. It was bought from Everett Aero, who basically got hold of most of the surplus Jags and Harriers not Harriers, but lots of the other ex-MOD jets after the MOD got rid of them. This has been in Chino for about 5 years, I think, and various pictures have popped up over the years, and it's never looked as though it's kind of been neglected in any way. The tyres have always been fully pumped up. It's always had canopy covers on and all that kind of thing. So it's been very slowly put together piece by piece, and they're claiming it's basically ready to fly, and it just needs to go through final paperwork bits and pieces. Obviously, that would never happen in the UK, so it's going to stay in the US, but it's a bargain at $350,000, and for that you get 2 working engines, you get all the avionics, the aircraft, the cockpit's pretty much intact as it was when it left the Air Force. It was built in '74. It actually comes with spare ejection seats, although I'm not quite sure how that works. As though that's a consumable.
Yeah, it's like you eject and you go, great, I've got a spare seat. It's a shame the aeroplane is a smoking hole in the ground.
Yeah, so, well, fingers crossed we might see somebody buy it, and it's going to take a hell of a lot of money to keep it running. But, sorry, Dave, I've picked up some of your supporters.
That is quite surprising. The whole, that's a lot of jet for not very much money. But I feel a bit like it's like you could buy that, and then it would be like just pouring money into the ground until no fixed time.
Will be almost as much as Dave's Basler conversion for his DC-3.
Yes.
That would be like pouring money into the ground. Right, we are approaching 5 minutes over, so let's just have a quick counter through the comments, Ed, if you would.
It's looking like we had an Ian wins, no contest. There's no one's with the Corsair by the looks of it. There's a Johnny wins, still Ian. There's hang
on a second.
Johnny wins, torn between Sea Fury and the Corsair. 350k with a full tank. Johnny wins tonight. I'm
a bit worried about this one here.
Once you all win, Ian wins. Dave wins. Hold on, Dave didn't have the Sea Fury.
No.
Ian wins. Yeah, it's a split. A nice, reliable DC-3 would be fun.
Yeah,
It would.
It would be fun. Unfortunately, Dave chose one without engines and then decided to re-engine it with something inappropriate. But...
Can you imagine? It's like Dave gets his DC-3, his veteran DC-3, all restored, and then goes to the turns up with all the other DC-3s at the D-Day celebrations, and it's like British aviation editor stoned off airfield.
Yeah. They'll all be going, God, I bet that's reliable.
They'd all be drinking bitter, and you walk over and order a lager, wouldn't you?
A nice glass of Chablis.
Sky Driller, as he's summed it up. I say, Johnny has a Jag.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a quick run through the events then, Dave.
Right, well, there's not very many events this time of year. So obviously Saturday, there's the Aerobatics Aviators Ball. Saturday, 3rd of December. It's a new one, actually. I just popped up today. Compton Abbas are having a final Vintage Saturday of the year. We thought they had stopped their Vintage Saturdays in October, but they're having one in December. Maybe they know something about the weather forecast that we don't. Wednesday, the 7th of December, Gasco Safety Evening at an airfield I've never heard of before called Sayford. It's in Staffordshire.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you very much. I believe we are there at the end. You're just going to bring in Shona and Roy. You're back on screen. So hello. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a great weekend flying. We look forward to, if you're going to be at the ball, come and say hello. And if you're not going to be at the ball, make sure you're there next year. So,
thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
See ya.
Bye now.
See ya.
Yep.